Hey guys, Cam315 back with you with another video, and this is my review of the recent movie that came out, well, this time, 2 weeks ago, Detective Pikachu. Um, Reason why I haven't seen this movie yet till now, because money was a little bit funny when I came back, coming home to California, as you guys know. But anyways, I'm here to give a review about Detective Pikachu that I just recently saw, and man, it was a very, very good movie. And I had a blast watching this. And I can say this without a doubt, I think this is the best anime adaptation of a live action movie, and I think it is the best video game movie as of this standard point of all time. I'm gonna give into a little non-spoilers before I get into my spoilers. I thought the movie was really well done. It was a really good job. The people who directed this movie, or the person who directed this movie, can I just I'm gonna find right now. I'm the director, Rob Letterman. I just gotta say, commend you on doing a job well done. I, like many others who talked about this movie, really liked this movie, and it was a really good movie that had a lot of heart, a lot of funny scenes. I liked the characters in the movie, and the one thing I gotta say is they did a really there was a that they did a really well. The one thing I gotta say is they did a really good job with was they had a lot of passion in this film, and you could see it from once the movie just started to basically the cinematic credit scene, and I won't talk about that until I get into my spoilers, but I can wholeheartedly say that this movie had a lot of passion. And I remember when I went to go watch the Pokemon animated film, The Power of Us, which was last year in theaters for a limited time. They showed a little video of them working on Detective Pikachu the movie, and it showed the director getting help from the people from the Pokemon company and getting help from them and what he thought he should do, and they helped him. And it goes to show that there's a lot of passion put in this film, and I can very much will say there's a lot more passion in this movie than what we saw in that one trailer with Sonic the Hedgehog. And I was disgusted that they showed Sonic the Hedgehog trailer before the movie came out. I was like, I don't want to see this. And hopefully, Sonic the Hedgehog people, you take notes from what you just saw with Detective Pikachu, and you go get some real source material. And you go back to the original source material, and you go get some help. Because that's what Pokemon did, or that's what Rob Letterman did to get help from the Pokemon company, and he did that. And I really appreciate the fact that they did that, and I just gotta say, a job well done. I thought, as for acting goes, I thought the acting was good. It wasn't the greatest acting, but I thought it was good. There was some funny lines that I chuckled to and I laughed. Justice, as I can pull them to the cast members, well, really the main cast members, which were Justice Smith, Ryan Reynolds, and then I guess to an extent you can have Catherine Newton. They all did well. They did a really good job in the roles. Justice Smith as Tim Goodman. I liked him. At first, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, wait, Justice Smith. I'm like, that's the dude who was screaming in Jurassic World because he was scared of all the dinosaurs. And I'm like, I really liked his performance in this. I really did. Ryan Reynolds is always great. He's Deadpool basically, but I thought he was really good as Detective Pikachu in this film. You could buy it, and it was very funny to hear all the lines um, in this. And then Catherine Newton as Lucy Stevens, who was a reporter girl in the movie. I liked her performance as well. I never knew the actress, but I think she did a really great job in the film with what she was given, and it was a great performance. And all the other actors that were shown that were in this movie, like Yuri Watanabe, he was, or no, my bad, Ken Watanabe. Sorry, I said Yuri because that's me talking about the Spider-Man game. But anyways, Ken Watanabe, he did a great job in his role, and Bill Nighy did a great job in his role as well. And yeah, the presentation of the movie looked great. I will say it made you feel like, just watching the movie made you feel like you were in the world of Pokemon. And I think that's the one thing that the movie got right, is that they made you feel like you were in the world of Pokemon and you wanted that world to be real, in a sense. And it was just a good thing. I thought all the Pokemon they showed in this movie were really well done looking, and they were good, from Pikachu on to basically say Mewtwo. All the Pokemon that were shown in this movie were really good looking and looked as if they were pulled right out of the anime and the video games and put onto the big screen in live action of what they would look like in real life. And it was really good. And it was just stunning to see some of my favorite Pokemon be put on the big screen. Now, not all of my favorite Pokemon were put on the big screen, but one of my favorite Pokemon's Greninja. He looked really good. Well, the Greninjas look good. I thought the Apom were funny in this movie. They're only shown in one scene, but I thought they were really funny in this one scene and stuff like that. And really, it was a good film. It was a good film that I would go see and I would go check out, especially if you're a Pokemon fan. It's extremely faithful to the source material, and the story's really, basically, with a few differences, the story from the video game Detective Pikachu was basically put into this, and it was honestly word for word the exact same game and stuff like that. And I'll get to more spoiler, and when I get into spoilers, I'll compare the differences between some minor differences between the game and the movie. But overall, it was a good movie, and it's worth the money. I definitely know when this movie comes out on DVD, I'm gonna get this on Blu-ray, because I'm just a Pokemon fan and I love Pokemon. And I can say this is the start of video game movies, if done right and done to their source material with pure passion like this film was. I can see more video games movies being brought into the spotlight of getting more representation of certain themes. Now, the next video game movie will be Sonic the Hedgehog, that's coming out later this year. They did say they were going to fix the Sonic design, so hopefully we get a new trailer for that coming out soon, and hopefully the Sonic looks like Sonic. But I think the main thing with video game movies is the passion put inside. If you get help from the source material, or you really look into the source material, and you look it up, and and these directors really take their time to go through these, like, the source material, they can make a really good video game movie off what you're gonna make. And honestly, as well as open the door for other video game movies, this movie, since it was really good in my opinion, and mostly everyone says this is a really good movie, I think this can be the basis of where they can possibly make maybe another Detective Pikachu movie, or they can make other spin-off Pokemon movies, or they can do, like, say, a movie based on one of the video games. And I think it would be good, because all you got the general foundation of what the Pokemon look like from this movie. So really, it's just the same thing. And I think you can make more live action Pokemon movies off this, which is pretty cool because I wouldn't mind getting, say, maybe a Pokemon Red movie in live action, or say another spin off game, or maybe even another Detective Pikachu 2 with the same cast of characters. I would love that again. But I thought Detective Pikachu was a good movie. It's one of my favorite movies. One of the favorite movies of my opinion. One of my, I would say, I love this movie, and it's a movie I'd watch honestly again because it was that good. So, anyways, that was really my non-spoiler review. I'm not gonna give my rating of the film till the end, but I'm gonna now shift over to spoilers. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet, somehow, like I said, it's already been 2 weeks since the movie came out, since I'm seeing this, and I'm just now seeing this. But if you haven't seen spoilers on the movie, just click off until you see the movie, and yeah. So, like I said earlier in a few minutes ago in my non-spoiler review of the movie, basically the story of the video game is basically ripped out into this game, or out not into this movie, and it's basically copy for copy what the game story was, with a little bit of additions and a little bit of changes in the movie. The one thing that is faithful from the games to the movie is the aspect of Tim Goodman, Detective Pikachu, and then really the story of solving the case of how the disappearance or the death of the father happened. So basically, when the movie starts off, it basically starts off with basically Mewtwo in his little pod, and he said something like getting away or something like that, and then basically Mewtwo tracks down this car and basically blasts his car up the side, and in the trailer, we all know that's Tim Goodsman's dad, and his Pikachu. So it then later cuts to Tim Goodman's, played by Justice Smith, of that it shows his story of how really that he's, guess from the past few years, he's lost friends because they moved on later in life, and that he's basically somewhat of a loner, where he just keeps to himself and stuff like that. So one of the first scenes, he was with his friend. He's like, his friend was basically like, come on, let's do this for old time's sake. And there was like a Cubone crying in the grass, and he was like, go catch the Cubone, and stuff like that. He didn't catch the Cubone, but the Cubone later tried to attack him, which I thought was really funny. And basically, Tim gets a phone call, basically telling him to come to the city, Rhyme City, which was the city that was in the game, where the police chief, basically, which is played by Ken Watanabe, is basically telling like Tim, like, hey, there was a crash and your father was involved in that crash and he died from it, and yeah, and he basically gave him the keys to his condo. So yeah, and during the movie, during throughout the movie, Tim is basically like a loner, mostly because he kind of shut his dad out of his life. And the one thing about the movie dynamic is the whole sons and fathers relationship and stuff like that. And it was a pretty it was like how I said in my Man Hero Academia role. It was a pretty realistic kind of thing where an event can trigger something where you might be distanced from, say, a parent or something like that. And I like the whole family dynamic that Tim Goodman had, and I thought it was one of the changes I saw that was different from the game. In the game, they didn't really show Tim's relationship to his father. In the game, they just kind of put it where he comes from Rhyme City, he finds out, being told up from the police chief, that, oh, his dad got in an accident and he died from it. And we didn't see the whole we didn't, in the game, we didn't see like, oh, how close was he to his dad. In the game, it just shows that, oh, it seems like he was a close guy, he was a close son to his dad. But in the movie, they show it off where it's like there was events where where was his dad focused really more on his work, after his after the mom died, and really, when he tried to bring him to Rhyme City with him, he didn't take that, and he was distanced from his father. So yeah. So anyways, he goes to his father's condo, basically his apartment complex, and he runs into Catherine Newton's character Lucy, and basically she was like, it's funny because she was basically investigating on him and asking, like, do you know anything to do with Harry Goodman's death? And basically he's like, yeah, no, nothing, I'm not trying to deal with it, and stuff like that. So he later goes to his condo, and he just looks around, and he goes into his room, which basically looks like his childhood room, and he was looking at all sorts of things like that, a Sinnoh Championship poster, and it's obviously shown, and it obviously looks like it's told that Tim used to be a Pokemon trainer, and even the police chief, when he was talking to him earlier in the film, was like, you used to be a you used to aspire to be like a Pokemon trainer. Harry always told me about that. And he's like, yeah, I used to, but I'm not that anymore, and stuff like that. In a way, it's where Tim is, and that's another thing that was different in the game. In the game, Tim looked like he was cool with Pokemon. In the movie, it looked like Tim, like, I guess, sometime gave up on Pokemon, and he resented the fact that he didn't accomplish his dreams to be like a really good Pokemon trainer, I guess. And it was a good thing. So anyways, cut to the chase. Him looking throughout the apartment, hears news going on. He hears noises going on, and it's basically the thing from the trailer where he meets Pikachu, and Ryan Reynolds played as Pikachu. I thought he was funny as all get up in all the scenes and stuff like that, and it was a funny interaction. And then, but earlier when Tim's looking through his father's stuff, he comes across a little vial or a little capsule thing, and he accidentally opens it, and this purple dust comes. It's later revealed that it's the same thing that they pulled out of the game, which is another comparison of the game, the drug R in the film, which made Pokemon go berserk. Like how in the video games, whenever Pokemon sniffed it in, they went berserk. So, they pulled that right out. So as he's talking to Pikachu, there was Apoms, and this is where I said the Apoms were probably funny. Because they were going crazy, and I was like, well, because when I saw the trailers, I was like, why did Apom look all crazy? But I'm like, I wonder if they like took in the substance R. So, anyways, so after Pikachu and Tim get chased by the Apom, Tim's character is like, whoa, I'm talking to Pikachu, and he's in this like little like airy mini market where he's telling people like, do you hear this Pokemon, this Pikachu talking? And it's funny because to him he hears Pikachu's voice, but to other people he's just saying the Pikachu voice. He's just saying the Pikachu's voice, like the Pika Pika, stuff like that. And it was funny. So then they later talk it over, and they're like, listen, we need to work together to figure out Harry's death. So throughout, Justice Smith resenting and pushing back on him, and Tim's like, okay, I'll help you out with this. And they later become a team, but they know the only way to find more information about Harry's possible death is if they talk to basically Lucy. So they go up to Lucy, and they meet her at her workspace. And obviously this is and I forgot to mention this before. Lucy is, from the game there was, well, it's obvious by the time, like, really once they meet each other the second time, that Lucy is the love interest to Tim's character. And the one thing out of the games is Lucy's character wasn't all. Well, she was, Lucy's character in the games was there. She was just named a different character. I forgot the character's name in the game, but basically they changed the name of the basically main reporter girl from the video game, and they just named her Lucy in this game. So it's a brand new character made up, and I was cool with that. It was fine. So they basically have a little interaction, and it was funny because basically she's like, gives him the coordinates to this little, basically like gives him some information of this basically this power plant place, this research facility place. And it was this funny line where he's like, he says come kind of like, in a way, kind of like cheesy, in a, well, really not an inappropriate line, but a cheesy line where he's like, yeah, I'm like fine, I do fine like alone by myself at night, or something like that. And it was really funny because Lucy looked at him like, dude, what? And it's funny because Pikachu's talking to him, and he's like, yeah, brother, you probably should have never said that to a girl. It's not a good thing to say that to a girl. And it was funny, and I found that hilarious. There was a lot of good, there was a lot of funny things I found about this movie. Not all the jokes were hit and miss. Not all the jokes were like there, but it was a good. There was sometimes I laughed, and it was hilarious. So, cut to the chase. They run into that Mr. Mime, and the Mr. Mime later directs them to go to this place called the Roundhouse, which is this battle facility. And the one thing about Rhyme City is that basically Pokemon and people work in tandem to each other. There's no catching, and there's no Pokemon battles in the city. They just work in tandem. So basically, they go to this club that has basically illegal Pokemon battling within the city. So they basically do that, and basically this mysterious girl texts somebody saying like, hey, the kid is with the Pikachu. And they also run into this guy who Pikachu apparently beat in the past, where Harry was with him, and basically, I guess, scarred up his Charizard. And in the battle, it's later shown that Pikachu cannot use his moves and stuff like that. So, through and through, and then before the fight starts, the dude who had the Charizard apparently had R on him, and a lot of R on him. So he used one of the R capsules, made Charizard sniff it in, and literally went berserk. And then sooner or later, Tim goes in to try to help Pikachu, and basically the guy comes in, and then all the vials of R break, which result in the whole place going crazy, with all the Pokemon going crazy, and they're losing their minds because they're basically taking in the drug. And then there was this funny line where Magikarp breaks loose, and Pikachu's like, let's use Magikarp. He'll later evolve into Gyarados, which is good. And he later did evolve into Gyarados, and it was a funny scene. So then Tim later gets in trouble with the cops, but then he talks to the police captain, Ken Watanabe's character, again, and basically, like, now he's in the belief of that his father, he believes that his father's still alive, and that stuff like that. And then he's basically like, listen, I know you're coping with the loss of your parents and stuff like that, but it's okay. And it was crazy because it came to the point where nobody believed him. But then they later meet up, they later call Lucy again, and she meets him at the same coffee station they met earlier in the movie. Well, when Pikachu and Tim were first getting to know each other better, and they later meet up, and they're basically saying like, yeah, most of the things lead from Harry going to this research facility. So then they later go to the research facility, and they find out, or actually, before that, all that stuff happened. Basically, the same girl that saw him at the little battle place basically pulls him aside, takes him up to this, um, takes him out to the guy who basically created the whole city, Rhyme City, and his name is Howard Clifford. And he basically saying, listen, your father worked for me, and he was trying to help me basically stop my son from doing stuff and messing with stuff. And it shows that he has this virtual reality thing which can see things that no one's seen, and it shows that Mewtwo attacked his dad, and basically the Howard Clifford's that's like, find out why Mewtwo attacked your dad to find out, and that's all I can tell you up to now. So, anyways, going back to what I was really saying, Tim and Lucy later go to the research facility, and can I just say this? Lucy's Pokemon partner Psyduck was one of the stars of the show and one of the steals of the show. He just made me laugh all the time whenever he was on the screen, because that Psyduck was one funny thing, and our one funny Pokemon in this movie, and I loved every moment he was on screen. I loved the whole car interaction with him and Pikachu. It was hilarious. So anyways, they get into the research facility, and they find out a bunch of stuff, and which was one of the scenes that kind of like actually made me jump for a second when they showed the Greninjas. They were in these little capsules, and it also shows that these Pokemon were being tested on, and they later even go to like Torterras that were basically tested on. And then one of the things is they say for the Torterra is like growth function, and they're like, but these Torterras look like the exact same thing. I'll get to that soon. But anyways, they later split up, and Tim and Pikachu basically find out the whole issue how what's his face Mewtwo was basically like how they found Mewtwo and what they did to get Mewtwo. And another thing is, I guess in the whole fandom of the Pokemon, or the whole Pokemon universe, they did say that basically Mewtwo was created 20 years ago, which means could there be a tie-in to the anime and the game? Well, really more the games, because we all know the team who created Mewtwo, and that was basically Team Rocket and Giovanni. And they basically confirmed it in this movie that, like, okay, yeah, Mewtwo originated from the Kanto region after being created 20 years ago. So, like, that's what I was saying earlier, like, they could do a Pokemon movie based in different canon regions, because now Kanto is a canon region in this Pokemon universe. So, which means Team Rocket's a canon team, and all the other teams and all the other regions are basically canon in a way in this universe. So, basically, it kind of, in a way, opened my eyes, saying, okay, so that means basically the games are basically canon to this Pokemon universe. Now, we don't know if we'll get more future live-action Pokemon films, but I would love that. Anyways, they also realized that they also find out that Mewtwo was being tested on, and that basically the essence of R comes from Mewtwo and stuff like that. So they later find that out. So when they later go back to go find Lucy, they can't find her, and they realize they later see that the Greninja capsules have been opened, and it was open because the son of Howard Clifford, because there was cameras always showing on them, showing them that the son is tracking them down, basically. So they later are trying to find Lucy, and then they realize that like there's a slime thing dropping by, and they're like, oh, that was not there. And they look up, and they see Psyduck and Lucy were all tied up because of the Greninja's tongues. So they later get Lucy and Psyduck free, and they're running from the Greninjas, and they have no hope. So it comes to one scene where basically it looks like the world's like going, like, basically like flipping over on its side and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? Because early movie they established, like, okay, if we let Psyduck go crazy, or he loses his mind when he gets stressed out. He's like a ticking time bomb, basically. So they later let Sadak use his psychic powers, and at first I'm like, okay, so they got rid of the freaking Greninja. But then that's when the whole, how like in the trailer they showed it looked like the world flipping up and like stuff like that, and it was a pretty cool scene actually. It was pretty eventful, and I was like, you're telling me Sadak can literally almost rip the fabric of the world? But then once it's all said and done, it's later revealed that it wasn't Sadak that made the world look like a flip up. It was gigantic, and I'm talking like almost Godzilla-sized Torterra. So when I said earlier, like they were doing tests on growth stages, basically that's the full extent of them testing. Those were the Torterras. I was like, oh, those were Torterras. But as the Torterras were showing giving back up, Pikachu literally gets hit in the head with a rock, and it looks like he's about to die or something like that. So then basically, Tim was asking this one Bulbasaur, it's like, yo, can you help me and my Pikachu? And basically Bulbasaur leaves, brings back some other Bulbasaur, and basically Bulbasaur's like, okay, I'll take you. But the funny thing is, I thought is, okay, he was only taking Tim and Pikachu. He was like, Lucy needs to get away. And they were lately like basically blocking Lucy up and like, go. And Lucy was like, I'll just go wait in the car for you. So basically, after seeing a few Pokemon on the way there, they run into Mewtwo, and Mewtwo was basically about to tell them the whole story of like, what's the deal with, and then that's when Mewtwo got captured by Howard Clifford's son. So basically, its story shows that Pikachu basically helped release Mewtwo to get to Harry. So when they get back, Pikachu is basically disappointed. He's like, listen, I betrayed your dad, so you can't trust me, basically. So Pikachu goes his own way, and Lucy runs and it's like, yo, what happened to you and Pikachu? And Tim's like, I don't want to talk about it right now. So they later go back to Rhyme City to basically tell more people and stuff like that what the heck's going on. And basically Lucy wants to go report the story. So what Tim does is he goes to find Howard Clifford, while Lucy goes to basically break the story of what the heck's going on. So we then later cut back to Pikachu, later realizing that he comes back to the bridge part of the crash, and later he's starting to remember fragments of his memory, and he's starting to remember that it wasn't Mewtwo that attacked him and Harry, it was the Greninja that were set free to attack Harry, and Mewtwo was the one defending them, which later cuts back to the Tim aspect, which he later realized, he's like, oh crap, Tim's in trouble, which later realized, which when they cut back to Tim talking that Harold Clifford, it's basically revealed that it's a double turn, it was a bait and switch, where basically Harold Clifford basically told the story, faked his story, of that his son was really the bad guy, and he was really the bad guy all along. At first I was like, okay, it's obvious, because when I was first on the movie, okay, if he's just basically telling his son this bad guy, was like, because even before the movie came out, not even before it, what's his face, before all this happened, they cut, but when Tim meeting Lucy the second time in the film, it's shown that the son was treating her pretty bad and pretty rude and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, he's most likely the villain. I was turned over to my sister, who was watching the movie with me as well as my brother, and I was like, he's probably the villain. And I was actually kind of a little shocked, even though you kind of probably could have seen it coming and it was a little bit predictable. But in my case, I don't know, I didn't see it coming at sometimes, and I was like, oh, so the dad was really the villain and the son was really the good guy. Well, at this point, I'm like, so the dad and the son were basically working in cahoots with one another. That's what I thought at first, until basically Tim later finds out that the son was actually trapped and basically locked up. So basically, the dad, because he got a disease and he was paralyzed, basically, in a sense, or he got a disease, and the dad really, or Harold Clifford was really, in a sense, like, I'm gonna use basically this device that hooks my mind up and connects to Mewtwo's mind. And basically what happened is, once he activated his little device, he was able to input his mind into Mewtwo's mind and be able to have the powers and control Mewtwo. And his whole plan was to really combine the Pokemon world and the people world. Basically, because I'm trying to go off what he's basically trying to make, basically, I guess, human genocide and just make it like all Pokemon in a way, in a sense. And he's like, I guess, the ruler of all Pokemon or something like that by being Mewtwo. So he basically has Mewtwo's powers, and in the climax scene, it's basically Pikachu versus Mewtwo. At first I didn't believe it. I'm like, wait, hold a second. If we're being real, there's no way Pikachu can take on a Mewtwo and win. I know this is like, okay, it's Pikachu's story, but yada yada. So basically, what happens before Pikachu later comes back to try with Tim to help save the day, basically, all the balloons are released, and this was actually different in the games. In the games, the balloons which had R in them, they did not release in the game. And also another thing that was different was, and it also relates to the Lucy character, the main villain in the video game was basically someone that worked inside the news station and stuff like that. And in the game, it was to get more publicity. In this, it was just a different aspect of, like, the guy who really ran the city, or made the city, really just wanted to take over the city and make it just majority of Pokemon, really. It was kind of a strange, weird plot of what he wanted to accomplish, but yeah, so anyways, Pikachu comes in later to try to fend off Mewtwo the best he can, and he's actually using his electric attacks and stuff like that. And there was this one part after, basically, there was this one part where, because they are Mewtwo's powers, he's basically putting people into Pokemon's bodies. And it's starting to ring a head. I'm like, I'm probably right about this, but I'm like, I guarantee you that Pikachu is Harry's dad. Because if Mewtwo's able to put human people into Pokemon bodies, that only makes sense. So, basically, like I said, going back to the end of the battle, because it was a really good battle. I won't say anything about the battle. If you haven't seen the movie, go check it out. The final battle was actually pretty good looking. So anyways, Mewtwo thinks, well, Harold Clifford and the Mewtwo body think he's won. And Pikachu's like, no, I only been distracting you, so Tim can do this. Basically, Tim just pulls the thing out of Harold Clifford's off his head, and basically his conscience goes back to his body and stuff like that. So then they later save the day, and then Mewtwo, who's back to being himself, reverts everything, makes it back to normal, saves the city basically, so gets rid of all the ARG, gas balloons, and basically makes people get back to their human state out of the Pokemon and stuff like that. And he basically runs into Tim and Pikachu, and he's basically, it's like saying, like, listen, your dad has always been with you the entire time. He is the Pikachu, which my theory was right, and it was something they did different from the games. The fact that in the games, at the end of the games, they really didn't, Mewtwo really gave, like, an ominous question, like, oh yeah, your dad's still out there. And it really didn't close up the story of the game, which I didn't like really at the end. I thought the game was still good for what it was, but I didn't really like the fact that you didn't really ask or see like what the heck the deal with the Pikachu and stuff like that. And it made it like in the games, it made it look like Pikachu was more of a messenger boy, and in an aspect of the movie, he was more of that in a way. But it's later shown to be revealed in the flashback scenes, like he basically trusted Pikachu, which was the regular Pikachu without Harry Goodman's conscience inside him. Basically, it's like, listen, I'll do your bidding to help you, Mewtwo. So basically, he put Harry Goodman's conscience inside Pikachu, and that's how Pikachu can somehow talk to Tim. And I think that's mostly you can talk to him because that's his dad. So by the end of the movie, it's really shown that Ryan Reynolds was basically the dad, and Ryan Reynolds also plays the dad character, and he's basically like, here's your ticket to go back to your grandma's, and basically Tim's like, you know what, how about this? Is it okay if I stay here and catch some coffee with you? And he later throws the ticket away and stuff like that, and stuff like that. Oh, and then also before that at the end, Lucy actually gets a good gig with the reporter because she runs into Harold Clifford's son, and basically the son's like, yeah, you reported on this story, huh? Didn't you? And she was like, yeah, I did. I did all the digging for the story and stuff. And basically she got to get like a good, basically a gig where she could do a night showing where she would talk about the story and what the heck happened. And she was and then when she got that, Tim was always happy for her, and she was like, you know what? Let's meet up. Let's meet up at like some restaurant like later tonight or something like that. And then stuff like that. So it kind of, I guess in a way, basically confirmed that she starts to have feelings for him in a way, and stuff like that. And yeah, but going back, it's basically revealed that Ryan Reynolds was the dad all along and stuff like that. So then the movie really ends off with them just walking off with Pikachu, and Pikachu, albeit he doesn't talk anymore, he does the Pika Pika voice again. So yeah, and then basically that's when the movie just ends off. The only thing I did feel like was kind of a little bit of a letdown in the thing is that that when they were going off, Ryan Reynolds' character or the Harry Goodman didn't mention like, oh, what about that girl you knew and stuff like that, are like really after the whole scene when basically Lucy's like, yeah, I'll see you later tonight. They didn't really show that scene. They probably did have that scene. It probably has a deleted scene or something like that, and that's probably the whole you know, forced probably kiss between the two main characters and stuff like that. But I'm not saying I would not have loved to see it, but it was kind of thing because it's like, well, they kind of didn't show the broadcast of what she did. It would probably been nice to see if they showed the broadcast from like a rerun of the broadcast as if they're like sitting down in like the little coffee shop or whatever, and then yeah, that's when they get away, confess their love for one another and stuff like that. But that's where the movie ends off, and then they have a really good cinematic cutscene, a really like animated cutscene, like as if things were pulled out of the book or the designs were pulled out of the thing, and it was really good. And I really liked that cinematic cutscene, and they had like the whole Pokemon theme playing in the back of the song, and it was really good. And also earlier in the film when Pikachu, before he gets to the bridge where him and Harry crash, he was later singing the first song of the Pokemon anime, well, from the English dub, really. I don't know if they said that, you know, gotta catch them all and stuff like that. You choose me, I choose you, and yeah, basically he was singing that song. And I was like, oh, that was a nice little, lovely, funny Easter egg they did. They made Pikachu sing the opening of the first anime song. So yeah, so basically the movie ended from there, and they showed the cinematic cutscenes. What I did like about the cinematic cutscenes is they gave Catherine Newton's character and Justice Smith's character like little animated character sprite, really little animated character things like images of basically of what they were looking like in the movie. If they were like, say, if they made an animated movie of this, that's what they would probably most likely look like. And I thought it was a pretty cool thing that they did, and it was, what's his face? It was really cool that they animated some of the human characters and just like did that to them. And I thought it was a cool, good movie. And Detective Pikachu is one of my favorite movies of all time, man. I cannot wait to see this movie again. But I'm probably not gonna see this movie again in theaters. I really just can't wait to get this movie on DVD. Like I said, I was gonna get this movie on Blu-ray because it was that good, in my opinion. And I had a blast watching this. And I can't wait to watch it again when I get it on DVD. Because, yeah, the crazy thing is, I wanted more of this like storyline. And like, so it's like maybe if they do make a Detective Pikachu 2, like Mewtwo can always come back and be like, listen, Harry, I need you to go back into the Pikachu, so yada yada yada, and stuff like that. And Harry would be like, okay, I would love to see another movie based on Detective Pikachu 2, maybe where they go to a region, and maybe he calls upon Lucy, and maybe Tim calls upon Lucy, like, hey, you want to go solve another mystery and stuff like that? It would be, all I can say is this opens the door for much more, and there could be more Pokemon live-action movies maybe coming in the near future. And I thought it was a good movie. My rating to this movie I would give is probably 8 out of 10. I would give it a B. It was a really good movie. There was some things that I wouldn't have issues with, but I guess you could say there was a little like nitpicks you could probably have about the film. But in my opinion, I think this is a solid 8 out of 10 movie. I had fun with this movie. I had a blast with this movie watching it, and yeah, and I hope they make more live-action Pokemon movies. And I hope they just stay away from the Ash storyline and stuff like that. They make maybe the Ash storyline just in the animated series of the Pokemon universe, and they just like either come up with new stories to new characters, or they basically retell a game in live action. And I'd be down with either or, and it'd be pretty cool. But other than that, I thought this movie was great, and I can't wait to get this movie on DVD. But other than that, solid performance to Justice Smith, Ryan Reynolds, and Catherine Newton. I thought you three did a phenomenal job in your roles with what you were given. And I also got to say thank you to the director of Detective Pikachu for getting things right and being really passionate, because it showed that he actually wanted to make this thing good. And yeah, so that's my take and my review on Detective Pikachu. My next video probably won't be till probably a few days later, till talking about the Angels, stuff like that. I still gotta get to that. I always keep saying I gotta talk about that, but I don't get to that. But yeah, this review was basically recorded like basically 10:47 Pacific Standard Time, which is West Coast time, and yeah, I'm probably gonna post this probably, maybe not first thing in the morning, but probably upload this to YouTube probably in the afternoon whenever I got free time. And yeah, so that's all I gotta say. Detective Pikachu, great movie. Can't wait to get it on DVD. And yeah, and it's the first good, well done made video game movie. But anyways, guys, till then, till my next review, whether it's a TV movie, TV show review, or another movie review, and my next movie review might be, I think, Toy Story 4. But yeah. But other than that, guys, I gotta actually eat my dinner that I got. But other than that, that's what I thought about Detective Pikachu. And until then, until the next video, yeah, that's all I gotta say. So really, if you like the video, leave a like if you want to. Hit the subscribe button if you would want to. Hit the subscribe button. Also, if you feel like you want to leave a comment of what you felt about the Pokemon movie, and if you're a Pokemon fan, just put it in the comment section if you feel like it. But other than that, I gotta get out of here. Gotta eat my dinner for tonight and get some good sleep, because I gotta wake up really early in the morning. Other than that, this has been Cam Free 15, and I'm signing out. So catch you guys later.